Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones might just have the best LEGO sets of any Star Wars movie. Let's be brutally honest here for a minute. Episode 2 ain't the best Star Wars flick. Don't get me wrong, I have a very special place in my heart for this movie. I have tons of nostalgia for it. I remember seeing this movie in theaters as a 5-year-old and it absolutely blowing me away. However, in the grand scheme of things for the Star Wars franchise, I think it's safe to say Attack of the Clones is in my bottom half of the movie rank. But there's just something special, a certain je ne sais quoi about Attack of the Clones that's hard to describe, an aura, as if the kids were saying it these days. Between the vehicles, the aliens, the weapons, all of the different locations they go to, and the costumes, Episode 2 just has the sauce, man. And that has translated into some of the best LEGO Star Wars sets of all time. So, let's talk about the cream of the crop from this film. Without further ado, here are my picks for the top 10 LEGO Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones sets. The only rule for today's video is it has to specifically be based on Episode 2. Seems pretty self-explanatory. Sets like the 2022 ATTE will not count because it is an Episode 3 set, even though that vehicle is a lot more iconic from Episode 2. Makes sense? Let's dive into the list. Number 10, 4482. ATTE. You know, this is the worst minifigure scale ATTE of all time. However, it's still one of the 10 best sets from this movie, just showing how good LEGO has done with this vehicle throughout the years. Yeah, this set is from 2003, and it certainly shows its age in a lot of departments, especially with the interior, the big gaps, and some of the awkward pieces and weird proportions. But you gotta view 2003 LEGO sets through a slightly different lens, and for that time period, they absolutely killed it. I especially love the lime green cockpit piece that really makes this one stand apart from other ATTE designs. Additionally, the speeder bike at the back was a nice touch, and including 4 generic Phase 1 clone troopers was a fantastic decision. Number 9. 75191 Jedi Starfighter with hyperdrive. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised this is only at number 9 on this list. Before I made my countdown, I kind of thought this would be in the top 5. However, there are just some really darn good Attack of the Clone sets, and this one ended up kind of towards the bottom. But don't get me wrong for a second, I still think this set is really great. It's probably the best version we've ever gotten of Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter, not including a bigger rendition we'll talk about later in this video. But the thing that puts this set over the top is the hyperdrive ring. It's the only time they've ever made this specific hyperdrive ring from Attack of the Clones, which is super unique and probably the main reason this set is worth a ton of money today. Also including a really dope Jango Fett minifigure doesn't hurt whatsoever. Number 8, 75019 ATTE. Oddly enough, the other 2 ATTE sets LEGO has made are not from Attack of the Clones. We got one from the Clone Wars and one, like I mentioned earlier, from Episode 3. The best version from Attack of the Clones is the 2013 rendition, which is very similar to the 2022 version. It definitely doesn't have quite as much going for it as that set in regards to the interior and some of the gaps being filled in. However, it still looks really darn good, and that $90 price point was hard to beat just 12 years ago. Oh, and it includes a minifigure of Coleman Trebor. How amazing is that? Justice for my dinosaur man friend. Number 7, 7133 Bounty Hunter Pursuit. Before I say anything else about this set, for the love of all that is holy in the universe, LEGO, please remake this. It has been 23 years. What are we doing? We're getting to a point where this set is old enough to rent a freaking car or have its own health insurance. Come on, make this again, I beg you. Okay, rant over. This is truly a phenomenal set for the year 2002. Both of these builds were way ahead of their time. These speeders are so colorful. I mean, they just really pop off the screen here, especially Zam Wesell's. I adore that color scheme. And oh yeah, this is the only Zam Wesell minifigure that has ever been made, and she looks so good for a minifigure that once again is 23 years old. And all of this came in an affordable $30 package. this set is awesome. Again, it being only at number 7 is not a knock on this set whatsoever. It's more of just a compliment to how strong this list is overall. Number 6, 7163 Republic Gunship. Get used to those 2 words for the rest of today's video. Republic Gunship is going to be a pretty constant theme throughout today's list. The original Gunship looks really darn good, once again for 2002. Look, a lot of LEGO Star Wars sets in this era have not held up whatsoever, but for some reason these Attack of the Clones sets are just goated, man. This Gunship had nice size, it had a cool feature to open up the front, you could put a bunch of minifigures in it, and oh yeah, the minifigures, a bunch of generic clone troopers is amazing, and it also gave us the legendary Jedi Bob. And it introduced us to our first ever LEGO Super Battle Droid figures in a really cool blue color. Yeah, this set is great. Number 5, 75017 Duel on Geonosis. I am a much bigger fan of vehicle builds from the LEGO Star Wars theme. There are some very good location-based sets, don't get me wrong. However, at the end of the day, vehicles are just cooler and feel like more complete builds in my opinion. And also, the big lightsaber duels from the prequels have been made into some rather mediocre sets. The 2017 Duel of the Fates build was okay at best. The most recent Mustafar set from 2020 is not great in my opinion. And then you have this 2013 Duel on Geonosis set that just looks beautiful. They nailed the architecture of the inside of this location. It's so well done. The play functions are great. Count Dooku's speeder bike is a fun build. And then of course there are the minifigures. Multiple of these figures were in my top 100 list of all time, including that Poggle the Lesser figure, who is just so flippin' fantastic. If I ever end up doing a lightsaber duel ranking list for LEGO Star Wars, this one will probably be near or likely at the top. I love this set. Number 4, 10215 Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. This is specifically the UCS version from 2010. I cannot believe it has been 15 years since LEGO introduced this set. Honestly, I really hope they remake it. I don't have my hopes up they will, but if they did, I would be first in line to purchase it, and it would probably go pretty well with a set we're rumored to be getting in May. The design is great. All the shaping is fantastic. I love the R4 head. Everything about this one came together. My biggest complaint is that I don't personally own it. It's been a white whale of mine for ages, and I should have just bought it a few years ago because the price keeps going up and up and up. What can you do? Number 3, 7153 Jango Fett's Slave 1. At the time of recording this video, this is the only proper minifigure scale version of Jango Fett's Slave 1 LEGO has ever made. Now, we are heavily rumored to be getting a UCS version of this ship in May of 2025. And if that set ends up being a banger, it would probably catapult itself pretty high on this list. But for right now, this original Jango Fett's Slave 1 from 2002 is the only one we've got, and it looks so good, once again, for the year 2002. I cannot believe how well these designs have held up after all these years. So many fun, creative new pieces were introduced with this set, and we also got our first ever Jango Fett figure. I love Jango Fett. I dressed up as him multiple times when I was a kid for Halloween. Just one of my favorite costumes in all of Star Wars. And this original LEGO Jango Fett figure is legendary for a reason. He is one of the all-time greats. I can't really see a world this set is not in the top 5 for LEGO Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Number 2, 75021 Republic Gunship. You all probably figured this was actually going to end up being number 1 on this list because, well, after all, it was number 1 in my top 25 LEGO Star Wars sets of all time video. However, keep in mind for that respective list, I did not consider UCS sets, but I did consider them for today's countdown, so that's a little bit of a hint spoiling what might be number 1 in today's list. As for this 2013 Republic Gunship, it's the best minifigure scale version of this vehicle we've ever gotten. This vehicle is my personal favorite in the entire Star Wars canon, so I'm very partial towards it. But come on, just look at this build. It is so well done. The minifigures are especially great. I love that Padme. The back printing there might be the best back printing LEGO has ever done. Yeah, this is a perfect flagship of any LEGO Star Wars Clone Army. I adore this set. So what could possibly be better than that? Honestly, I think my take might end up being controversial, but I'm gonna stand on business because my number one set here today is 75309 Republic Gunship. This is, of course, the Ultimate Collector Series version from 2021. And just hear me out on why I love this set so dang much. This build is pretty much perfect. It looks spectacular. The techniques, the angles, everything about it is so well done. There are virtually zero gaps. All of it comes together. It's absolutely massive. This is an incredible display model of my personal favorite vehicle in all of Star Wars. And ultimately, I buy LEGO Star Wars sets to display, and I will always have this thing proudly as one of the centerpieces of my collection. Now, I know some people are gonna get mad at me for putting this at number one because it doesn't have good minifigures. I don't care. This vehicle is not minifigure scale. LEGO had no obligation to even include minifigures in this set. The fact that we even got 2 is kind of bonus to me. And at the end of the day, you're complaining about around 10 pieces for a set that has well over 3,000. And the majority of this set, 99% of the plastic you pay for here is pretty much pitch perfect as a build, which is why, in my opinion, it is the best LEGO Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones set ever created. But those are just my thoughts. Please comment down below with your personal picks. And thank you all so much for watching today's video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.